Hey guys, it's your girl Galindi and welcome back to FruitFruit Podcast. Today we're going to talk about a topic that's definitely not like simple, fun. In a way, it's very heavy and there's a lot for me to talk about. Just the fact that I can make this episode is crazy. It's insane. Because the things I say in this video, I've learned it and I've gained all these insights through so many days of crying, so many days of confusion, anxiety. Like, this moment right now is kind of like my prayer being answered, so I'm just like really grateful and overwhelmed. So as you guys have read it through the title, the seed of the day is the best way to heal after being hurt. I think it's inevitable, but there are times when we're just hurt. I'm not making this episode to target anyone or make a juicy gossip session. I also want my advice to be very collective, universal. Just gonna take out any personal parts of it, but yeah. Just note that I dealt with it. I've been hurt. I have so much, I have a lot of stories, but let's just get started. The first step you have to take to heal after being hurt by someone is to shut up. That's the first step. Actually, you really need to stop oversharing, stop telling other people about it. It could be a strategy to heal because sometimes when you tell people about your concerns or your worries, sometimes they'll also tell you what they've gone through. They'll tell you good advice and stuff like that. So, in a way, it could be a good strategy, but honestly though, I feel like you need a time to think and reflect by yourself. Because when you tell people, like your close friends or whoever it is, this person hurt me, this is what happened, most of the times they're gonna defend you because it's people by your side. So oftentimes they'll say things like, oh, I can't believe that happened. How dare they do that? But when you say things like that, sometimes it fosters your anger. It actually boils my blood even more. It's like they turn on the kettle. So I start to be like, oh yeah, it's that bad. Now that I think about it, dang, how dare they do that, You really just have to sometimes analyze it by yourself and make the decision. Other people's opinions will definitely feed into your thoughts because when you're hurt, whether you're sad, frustrated, or angry because of that experience, we are irrational because we're going through something emotional. And when things are emotion-based, oftentimes we make mistakes, weird choices that we wouldn't have made if we weren't irrational. So sometimes you definitely have to analyze it by yourself and look at it from a bigger perspective. Search less on why did this person do this to me, but focus more on why I'm feeling this way. And that leads to the second big point, which is stop victimizing yourself. This is something that not a lot of people talk about. Any kind of videos out there online, secular advice, they're all gonna tell you need to take revenge, show them what they've lost, show them your worth. But that kind of triggers this idea of you becoming a loser at one point. I feel like when people are hurt, they often make the mistake of thinking that they are the ones who lost. I mean, you could call yourself a victim if you're the one who's hurt and somebody else actually did some sort of action, but victim does not mean that you are a loser. Victim does not equal loser, but so many people think of it that way. And I think that's why people want to take revenge. They're so obsessed with this thing called power dynamic. They're like, I need to have authority over this person. I need to gain my power back, gain my energy back. So you really have to tell yourself, am I really the loser? Because if you lost somebody who you trusted, or if you lost trust, yes, you lost that. But at the same time, I think there's also a room to be grateful for. Sometimes when I'm hurt, I always tell myself it's because I wouldn't have done that to somebody I really respect or somebody I trust. It's sort of a privilege for me to feel that because my moral values don't align with their behavior. It's like I'm sort of grateful about it. At least now I gained a bit of knowledge or an insight to how this person operates, like what kind of motivation they have, what kind of intention they have. When you lose something, at the same time, it's like you kind of gain something. But when you're so emotionally stressed, you focus so much on the negative aspects that you totally forget about the things that come from that experience. And not a lot of people talk about that. So, second point, it's a big one. Stop victimizing yourself. Okay, before moving on to the next big one, just want to talk about how I struggle so much with rage. I'm not even kidding when I say this. It was not anger, it was not stress, it was like rage. When I say rage, it's like something that actually boils in my heart. It's kind of like this feeling of rage is biting down my heart. It's like eating me up. I see things in a very negative way, and it's like my heart aches when I think about the things I've gone through, and it took me such a long time to get rid of it. Definitely an odd thing for me to say because I'm usually not a person who gets angry or who gets angry for a long time. Yeah, now that we talked about anger, how about we share like what we do when we're angry? You guys can kind of like share on the comments of how your anger looks like or how you express it. My anger is definitely not explosive. I don't really yell or like show my frustration like wow like that. And also, I wouldn't say it's passive aggressive. It's not like I don't say anything. I'll confront it and I will ask you, why did you do it? Like, I will call you up and be like, hey, so I found out this. Like, I want to know why you did this. It hurt me. Like, I don't really avoid these kind of conversation. The more I have it on my chest, it's a burden. So I just want to like confront it and figure it out as soon as possible. This time it was different. I had so much rage inside of me. So during that time of me dealing with rage, like one of the girls at my church recommended this book called Anger. Like I never shared my experience, but we were just talking about like how to deal with anger as a Christian and stuff like that. This is the book she recommended. Anger, Taming a Powerful Emotion by Gary Chapman. And let me tell you, I bought this book off of Amazon with my own money, which is a very rare moment for me because I don't usually buy books with my own money. Like I would rather just borrow it or find an ebook. But yes, I had to buy this ASAP. This book is definitely not sponsored. I'm not like promoting it. And let me tell you a few reasons why I bought this book out of all the other books. First of all, well, yeah, somebody I know recommended. Okay, so this author, I think he's the one who created the love language. Somebody who has done a major work in the psychology industry. I think he's a pastor. Yes. So he quotes a lot of Bible verses. And I did openly say that I'm Christian. The fact that it has Bible verses was definitely a bonus for me because if you tell 10 different people, somebody I trusted lied to me, they did this, they did that, they're all gonna tell you different advice. And they're all gonna give you different reactions. Somebody's gonna go like, oh, just forget it, move on. Another person goes, you have to text them right now. And then another person goes, how about you go no contact for like a few weeks and then see their reaction, and based on their reaction you can like act. Like there's so many different advice out there in the world. So whenever I'm really confused and don't know how to act, this Holy Bible is what I go for. Because there are more than thousands of self-improvement books, but there's just only one Holy Bible. So me as a Christian, when I'm really confused, I always refer to the things in the Bible. I'm definitely sharing how I coped up with all these. So I hope you guys are respectful about that. And you are so welcome to continue listening to my podcast, even if you have different background, religion, different moral values. I think there's a lot to pull out from here, so just want to share a few things. Okay, so let's move on to the third action point, which is revenge. When you continue to think of yourself as a loser, you're obsessed with power dynamic. The biggest solution for people to really just go past by the person who hurt you or just gain back your energy source and everything is revenge. But let me tell you why revenge is not a good way to heal. You could use the idea of revenge as a form of motivation to do things after being hurt. So a lot of people start working out. They start to gain new hobbies, meet new different people, start doing something new. Like, most of them do it for themselves, but I think also a lot of people do it to prove it to other people who hurt them, to prove it, like, this is something I can do. You never knew about it, right? When you're obsessed with this idea of revenge, it's like you never get to live your life. You're so obsessed with proving your worth, proving yourself to other people, that it's like you're not doing things for yourself. Yeah, when I was going through this whole emotional roller coaster, I was really exhausted and stressed. People always tell you it's either you take revenge or you just move on. But I couldn't quite move on because I had so much resentment about the things I've gone through and the way how I never got any apology or anything like that. So I was like, how can I let go when I'm the one who's left confused and so hurt, so frustrated? It kind of felt like when I let go, it's all just gonna vanish. I think in a way I kind of had that desire to be acknowledged and sort of get something as a reward for going through this rough time. But I felt like if I let go, everything's just gonna stop there. Just made me wonder, what about all the days I cried, I crashed out, like, what about it? Not getting anything from doing that? Even though I was hurt, I was still grasping onto this idea, trying to do something about it, and I felt like the only way to deal with that was revenge. But in this book and in the Bible, it told me something so eye-opening about revenge. When I was reading it, I literally made notes like this. Y'all, I was this desperate to really get rid of like my rage. So this is written on Ephesians 4:26-27, and it was also mentioned in the book as well. Let me just read it out loud. In your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you're still angry, and do not give the devil a foothold. Telling you 3 different things. Do not sin when you're angry, and do not let the sun go down while you're still angry, meaning that don't let it go past a day. Number 3. Do not give the devil a foothold. So in a way, I think it's similar to number 1. Don't sin. Don't do any wrongs. Don't do bad things. I was feeling all of this because I was angry for such a long time. And I did do sinful actions in a way that I was like, sometimes I got too angry to the point that I imagined myself like slapping people's cheeks. Like, that's crazy because I've never thought about slapping somebody on their cheeks or just slapping someone in general, and I never did, and I just don't see myself doing that. But I would like imagine myself doing that. Because I was that angry. This verse definitely stayed within my heart because it's something the Bible says. And the book also tells you that anger was designed to be a visitor, not a resident. So definitely it's normal to feel stressed, hurt, angry, sad, but those feelings should not be a resident. I have another verse to share, and this is so powerful that I was like, whoa. I think this verse alone just brought me to the point where I am today, but let me share it. So it's Romans 12:19. Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath, for it is written, it is mine to avenge. I will repay, says the Lord. On the contrary, if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he is thirsty, give him something to drink. In doing this, you will heap burning coals on his head. Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with something good. Wow, like that verse, every time I read it, I'm like, I get chills. The first part, which is verse 19, stood out to me the most. It says, do not take revenge because it is God's to avenge. Like, he's gonna repay it. The biggest reason why I couldn't let go of my pain was because I wanted to be acknowledged, and I felt like everything just stops there when I, let go of it. I was like, something has to happen and somebody has to know this. So I always had it in my heart. But the fact that this verse is literally telling me that God's gonna take revenge and it's his to repay told me that if I have a desire to take revenge, that's kind of like me trying to do something that God's supposed to do. Because as a Christian, I follow God's commands. I definitely always try to be respectful of what he's telling me to do. Just imagine yourself, like if somebody told you, don't touch this thing because I'm the only one who can touch it. But if you touch it, doesn't mean that you were respectful to this person. Doesn't mean that you took their words to your heart. No, because you didn't listen to them, right? So in a way, for me, I was like, okay, if I want to take revenge, it basically means that I'm not listening to God's message. Because he tells you, vengeance is mine, I will repay. So at that point, when I took this verse into my heart, for me, it was like, okay, I can let go now. Because God knows everything I've gone through, and he's going to do something about it. Like, at that point, I could fully just release it. So I'm really curious to hear who has different religion or different culture deals with these kind of feelings. Because for me, I was like, God, it's in your hands. Whatever these people do to me, it's really out of my hands, has nothing to do with me. But I just trust in your plans that you do something for them and you do something for me. And at that point, I could just really let go. It really takes time for people to take any quotes or Bible verses into their heart. It takes a lot of effort, patience, and a lot of self-reflection, because even though after reading this passage for the first time, I still struggle so much with just like letting go of things. Here's a funny example. I had it inside my head. I just saw myself still grasping onto this whole idea of me being the victim, me being the one who's hurt, and not being able to fully trust God's plans. So what I did was I looked at myself from a third person perspective. I was like, how am I acting right now? I compare myself to a student. Let's say you were hurt by somebody you trusted, and imagine you are a student in a classroom. Just imagine yourself being in a classroom. One of the classmates there, or maybe like your old best friend, betrays you, bullies you. You're probably gonna have so much anger, resentment towards this person, and you're gonna want to tell other people about it or take revenge. Let somebody know that you've gone through this, because if you're the only one who knows, it's like nothing's gonna happen, right? But I imagine, okay, what if like my teacher, since I'm a student, what if my teacher had so much power or like authority to the point that they can like do whatever they want? And what if my teacher knew about the whole drama? Would I still be angry as I was if my teacher knew about the whole thing, what I've gone through and what this person's intuition was? I don't think so, because if my teacher is that powerful, then I think I'll just fully trust my teacher and just let my teacher do whatever they think is the best way to deal with it. As a student, I'm probably going to think to myself, my teacher is going to have way better idea or way better way to deal with this than I would. So at that point, if my teacher knows about the whole thing, I will probably shift all my stress away and really just fully trust on my teacher and just be like, they're going to do something about the student, right? I think that's the way it works. Like, it's the same thing for me. I just saw myself not fully trusting the Lord's plans and keep praying like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I didn't do anything. Why am I hurt? Praying to God, like crying, saying I wish I was numb about these things. I was just like complaining about how I have such a pure heart, in a way that I'm so hurt. But at the end, now that I look back, I had so many takeaways out of this experience. The fact that I have all these values and the heart to be hurt told me that I have the heart to learn and adapt these things. So there's definitely not an experience where you're losing everything. Even if you don't take revenge, even if you are not doing anything, God knows. Like, I know this is gonna sound very awkward or strange if you're like not Christian or have never read the Bible. I'm just telling you that you don't have to struggle so much to do things all by yourself. There's a room for other factors to hold on to the weight that you've been holding on. So it's always great to acknowledge that you don't have to do everything. And as I said in one of my drive-through and talk series, to the right people, you don't have to prove yourself. Even if you don't prove yourself, the right people know who you are. They're going to recognize your values. They're going to recognize what kind of heart you have, what kind of mind you have. So just surround yourself with good people. And yeah, this episode is so special for me. And not me with a shaky voice. And with this episode being public and open for all of you, I also just want to confess that I would like to forgive people who have hurt me until this day, because like I can't really say that I want to forgive people who will hurt me for my entire life, because I don't know what's gonna happen from now on. But at least from my past, I forgive people who have hurt me. Forgiveness doesn't mean that I was not hurt, and forgiveness doesn't mean that what you did was right. What's wrong is wrong, and what hurt me. But when I say I want to forgive people who hurt me, it means that I'm not going to hold grudge against these people just because of what they did to me. I'm not going to pray or wish for your downfall. I'm actually going to pray that you are restored and you are healed. And I pray for you to change in a good way. Not just for me to heal, but for your own well-being and for your own life. Oh, that took me quite a few attempts to say it out loud. But yeah, I really wanted to make something very special and very heavy, very meaningful to me as my first proper episode of this podcast. Starting like this really sets a stone in my heart to what this podcast means to me and which direction I want to take as I go forward. But thank you so much for listening, all of you. I did mention a lot of my own personal beliefs and the way I coped up with it, but I think this is the best way to heal after being hurt, because it's really for yourself. Like, I'm telling you, like, having toxic feelings in your heart does not feel nice. Some people enjoy it. They like having drama, they like gossiping, but just not a thing for me. Hope you guys all take these advice into heart. Also, anytime, let me know your thoughts on the things I've said or the things that you were reminded of. I would love to listen to your story as well. So, the fruit of the day. Moving on doesn't mean that you're giving up. Moving on actually means that you've grown into a bigger person, bigger mindset. It means that you healed. It's a very, very strong decision. Never feel afraid to let go and move on. I hope this episode was helpful. Thank you guys all for listening, and I will see you guys in the next episode.